You're listening to the For Climate Tech series on the Forward Faster podcast, providing bite-sized insights for climate tech innovators.
Hello and welcome to Forward Faster. I'm Chris Carpenter, your host, and with me today is Mike Riedlinger, Managing Director in Technology Commercialization at Scale For ClimateTech and Nextcore. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you. So as you know, we attended the Retool conference in Jamestown, New York on June 11th. This was a conference that focused on clean tech manufacturing. One of the conference taglines was highlighting growth potential for climate clean tech manufacturing in the greater Western New York region. So I was curious if you could dive into what is clean tech manufacturing all about?
Well, clean tech manufacturing is about using practices and processes for manufacturing that generate a little or no greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide when the products themselves are made. So reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in manufacturing, it's important for reducing the future impacts in climate change. So in the United States, manufacturing accounts for just about a quarter of direct carbon emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. So at the conference, there are several speakers that talked about how their companies were making products that addressed really important issues related to clean energy, while also being sort of mindful and aware of the impacts the business itself had in the production of those products. So the kinds of impacts that they talked about included reducing the greenhouse gas inputs from energy that they used in manufacturing processes, as well as workforce practices that give benefits from clean manufacturing to communities that have too often lacked equitable access and participation.
That sounds almost too good to be true. Do you have any examples of a company that was highlighted at the conference?
Sure. So there's this fellow, John Williams. He's the founder of Retool in Buffalo, New York. He gave a great talk about energy storage products that his company is making, as well as the manufacturing practices that they use to produce those storage products in volume. So his key product is essentially a specialized rack of rechargeable batteries, along with some electronics that help with sort of controlling the battery-to-battery communications. So these help with bridging production of electricity from intermittent sources like wind generation and solar farms to make that energy usable when people need them in factories and in their homes. So it helps to make sure electrical energy is available whenever it's needed, whether wind is blowing or not, or the sun is out or not. You can always get power out of the batteries that store it. So the racks each have like hundreds of smaller batteries. They're kind of like AA battery size, by the way. So these racks of batteries can be combined to make energy storage products that go from small devices, that are sort of home-sized units, to really large scale that can provide power for, like an entire factory. Or an example he talked about was using one of his Vriddy units in place of a diesel generator at professional golf tournaments. So it eliminates burning the fossil fuel, the diesel fuel, in the generator while they're on location at the golf course. And additionally, the unit is quiet, silent. So better experience also for golfers and spectators. You don't have the diesel fumes. So basically everything's better. He also talked about automation that they use in the factory itself to produce the battery packs. So the power in their factory comes mostly from hydroelectric generation that comes from Niagara Falls. So the energy that's used to make those racks did not emit greenhouse gases. He also uses things called cobots. So they're like robots that work alongside people. And he employed things called lean manufacturing practices. So really cuts down on resources that are used in making products. It helps really lower unit manufacturing costs. It helps increase the product profitability. And it also enables them to produce at higher volumes in the future. So we want ever more of these power storage units because we have big need in the United States for these. So beyond that, he also talked about workforce. The company recruits and trains people from sort of the surrounding neighborhood, the area around the production facility, which Over the years, it's been an area of high unemployment in Buffalo. So Viridi took advantage of programs that are there in the Buffalo Niagara region for workforce development. And there's one in particular he mentioned. It's called the Green Force program. So Green Force training helped the employees learn and develop professional skills. So it ends up benefiting both the new employee and the company. And it's a program that a lot more people should know about.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. And all in Buffalo. Between the grid energy that they have coming from Niagara and the Green Force program, they should have that in every city. But it kind of brings me to my next question, which is why is clean tech manufacturing relevant to Western New York?
Well, there's lots of reasons, including availability of 100% renewable power from hydroelectric, wind, and solar. One of the things that I was really impressed with just driving down to Jamestown for the conference, number of wind generators on the hillsides. Once I got closer to Jamestown, it's just amazing the amount of wind-based energy. And I probably passed maybe a dozen solar farms on the way there as well. And of course, we're right there in the Niagara Falls region. So there's just enormous amount of power that's available from Niagara Falls. So 100% renewable power that's available. We just talked about the workforce capabilities. So to recruit and develop workforce using some of the other agencies that are in the region, really, really big advantage. The other is geographically, so that Buffalo, Jamestown area, just well positioned to get to many other places using rail lines, using barges and shipping lanes on the Great Lakes. It's also nearby the thruway system as well. So really easy to manage logistics, whether you're working with other suppliers or key customers or other partners. They're doing more manufacturing from components that are made there in the area. So just really well positioned and lots of resources to take advantage of that enable clean manufacturing. So, products that are made using that renewable energy, they really benefit because they embody less greenhouse gas when they're made. So at the point of production themselves, they embody less carbon in them. So it really helps reduce overall climate impacts. And also, I was told by many of the manufacturers at the conference, power there is really very low cost. So it's less costly than using power that other areas of the country that are using fossil fuel-based electrical generation have. So there's cost advantages to being there too and using that renewable power. Beyond that, because we also do some work with NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, well, manufacturing products in Western New York also supports the achievement of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which we call by the acronym CLCPA. So this is law in New York State, and it's a goal to achieve greenhouse gas reductions statewide. It's a world-leading initiative. It's a really big deal in terms of protecting our state's natural resources, creating economic opportunities, and ensuring a brighter future for us all.
Yeah, it seems all too easy to just cut the emissions of your product down right off the bat by setting up in Western New York. Sounds like an incredible conference and sounds like you got to see a lot. And I'd be curious if there's anything else you wanted to talk about from Retool before we wrap things up.
Sure. So, there are several breakout sessions there too, and many for manufacturers about using free and low-cost services that are available from regional agencies, the manufacturing extension partnership centers, as well as services that are provided from other companies for energy management. The conference also had showcase of resources to help manufacturers with recruiting, with workforce development, with automating their production, about learning about new equipment, many displays from regional contract manufacturers to inform others about services that were available in their shops. There were a few other entrepreneurs that spoke about new products they're making that are going to help with the transition from fossil fuels to electric devices. Also, several of our participants from the Scale For ClimateTech program were in attendance. So they learned a lot from the presenters, the breakout sessions, and they networked with a lot of the attendees there too. So in all, it was an excellent program. Contract manufacturers, clean energy entrepreneurs, anyone that's really interested in sort of the advantages of being in Western New York and using clean energy for manufacturing.
Certainly sounds like the place to be. I'll make sure to mark our calendars for next year, hopefully. With all that being said, Mike, thank you so much for stopping by and reflecting on your time at the Retool conference in Jamestown. And we'll catch you next time at Forward Faster.